Okay, so I wanted to do another video on the collection. First of all, I apologize for the lighting. I don't have very good lighting in this room. I probably should have done this during the day, but fuck it, I'm already here. So I described last time that the SKS was one of my, well, I didn't actually say it, but the SKS is actually one of my favorite rifles of all time. I fucking love that gun. I've had two in my life. I sold one of them, and I still have another. It's sort of a funny story about this one. Yeah, so here it is. This is a Yugoslav SKS. When I got it, it was an absolutely gorgeous shape. Gorgeous. It was utterly unissued, which it was fairly rare at the time. I bought it in 2011. There's actually cosmoline still on this gun. I haven't fully cleaned it off yet because, I don't know, I don't mind having cosmoline on there. Especially since it doesn't really impede the function of it, and it gives just a little bit more corrosion protection. I live in a very humid environment, so any little bit helps. And honestly, it's never affected anything about the gun. And what you'll notice is that you look at this gun and you say to yourself, holy mother of God, this thing has a fucking bayonet lug on it. Like this. Shouldn't that be illegal in New York State? Because you have those evil bayonet lugs, which, as we all know, cause millions upon millions upon deaths a year. The answer is no. The reason why it is legal in New York State is because this magazine can't be removed. Now, New York State defines a non-detachable magazine as something that cannot be removed from the gun unless the gun is disassembled. And because this particular SKS, or most SKSs, the magazine cannot be removed without actually fully disassembling and rendering the gun inoperable, then it's okay to go. So, in short, any fixed magazine gun in New York State is good to go. It doesn't matter what sort of features are on it. Some basic impressions of the gun, or things that I've experienced over the life that I've had it, is that I tend to think that the Yugoslav SKSs are a bit better quality than the Norenkos, even though the Yugoslav SKSs lack the chrome line barrel. They completely lack it. They don't have it. There was a while on Wikipedia, actually, where there was seemingly a battle going on between whether or not the SKSs, the Yugoslav variants, actually have a chrome line barrel. Some editors were putting in they do, some where they don't. Some were saying that they sometimes did and they sometimes don't, depending on the day, I guess, and how the weather was. But the answer is they don't. The research I've done has really indicated that Yugoslav SKSs do not have a chrome line barrel. Now, is that a major problem? Yes and no. Chrome lining does in fact lead to a better durability in terms of barrel life. It does help resist corrosion. Those two things are the main advantages of chrome lining. I think also that the fact that it somewhat decreases accuracy is, yes, that is a consideration, but does it really matter that much for a battle rifle? Does its decrease in accuracy really merit it not having it, or does it? I'm just saying, is it that much of a disadvantage? And I don't think it is. I think it's mostly an advantage. There's really one of the two things that I don't like about this gun, as opposed to the old Norenko I used to have. Compared to the Chinese AK or the Norenko, this is just finished a lot better. The finish is just really much better than my old Norenko. It also was, if you're into history and everything like that, this was an issued gun. This was used by the Yugoslavian military. I have a somewhat rare variant. Mine was actually created in the late 80s as opposed to the ones that are created before that. So I had one of the last production guns that ever existed, which is kind of cool. So this is just prior to the Yugoslav wars. This gun was made in about 1986 or so. I had all the information, but it has a Z serial number on it, which indicates that it's a later production gun, which is kind of cool because you think of it as SKS as being these sort of archaic weapons sometimes that were ceased production. But in reality, a lot of countries still use them, and for good reason. So, obviously this gun is cleared. All my guns are cleared before I do any of these videos, so let's not get too excited, gentlemen. Yeah, shooting the gun is really a pleasure. If the AK-47 doesn't recoil much, this gun really doesn't recoil much. It's quite heavy for what it is, and that sort of mitigates what recoil it does have. There's really, there's so many things I love about this thing. It's New York legal, which is great, but it's also a surprisingly accurate gun. Not the most accurate in the world, but it certainly is more accurate than people give it credit for. I think it's more accurate than an AK-47. In fact, I think some people actually use this as a designated marksman rifle. I don't know what military does. Although I've seen actually photos in Syria or video in Syria. I was watching Vice on YouTube. Their YouTube channel, I post various travel blogs and whatever. And they were talking about snipers of Syria. And a little kid had a rifle and had a scope, and it was this very gun. So in Syria, at least, they are using them as sniper rifles. I've seen also some of them use RPKs as sniper rifles. But these guns are surprisingly accurate. I remember the first time I ever shot it, I was just really surprised with the group I got. I'm not an expert shot, so anything that was remotely good, I'm excited about. But it's been very accurate for me. It's actually the gun I'm probably one of the most accurate with. And it didn't take me long to get to that level. So being that it is a New York legal gun, I don't have to worry that much about it. When the SAFE Act came around and you had to do all sorts of crazy ass shit and jump through hoops and everything like that, I didn't have to do anything with this gun because there's nothing I have to change. But I'll go to some of the things I don't like about it. As far as SKSs go, this is quite heavy. I don't know the exact weight on it, but it's probably around 8 pounds, probably 8 or 9 pounds. It's because of all this extra crap on the front. The bayonet lug, the grenade sight, which is just freaking cool. You know, that's a grenade sight. This is a grenade launcher. It's meant for one of those old types of NATO-style ones. Now, people have been theorizing as to why the Yugoslav military decided to adopt a NATO standard for their grenade launcher. I'm not an historical expert. I'll say that many, many times through the video that how much of an expert I'm not. But I think I'm educated enough where I'm a little bit, I know enough to be dangerous. That's the saying. I almost forgot it. But in history, or the way it went, is that Yugoslavia and the USSR, or the Warsaw Pact, didn't really get along that well. They kind of didn't like each other. And what I imagine the reason why they did that is because just in case a war broke out, Yugoslavia might have to change sides, or might have to choose a side, rather. They probably wanted to go with the NATO standard. Just because they might actually have to side with NATO. I know that Tito, I think, met with some U.S. presidents. I don't remember who it was. Again, I think he received some sort of praise in the Western media because they were part of the non-aligned movement, which basically meant that they didn't have an alignment. They didn't really side with the Warsaw Pact. They didn't side with the NATO. And to any Western country, that was a good thing. They weren't at least a Soviet ally, and they didn't even like the Soviet Union. So it's sort of an advantage. But I got off topic again. Yeah, it's just the funny story I wanted to tell you. This gun actually was sold at one point. It was a sold firearm. I sold it to a gentleman in upstate New York. I live in southern New York. I live in Long Island. So when it was sold, I sold it to a place, Gander Mountain. It's a famous sports chain all throughout the country. So when I had this thing shipped out to him, and so I got an email from him several days later saying that Gander Mountain would not accept the transfer because it had a bayonet lug and all this kind of crap on the front. Now, the people at Gander Mountain are fucking stupid. They were fucking horribly stupid, and I feel really terrible for this guy who spent all this money to have this SKS shipped up to him. He didn't have to buy it from me, but he had it shipped up to him, and now they're telling him that they couldn't transfer the gun because it was not SAFE Act compliant. I remember talking to them, and I said, you know, I was schooling them on fucking New York state law. And they were trying to tell me, they were trying to give me all this crap about how it was illegal, and I said, you haven't read the law. Just absolutely terrible experience from Gander Mountain. They have not read the law. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I think I'll give their information at the end of this video, just so you know who you're fucking dealing with. They told me that I had an illegal gun. And they pretty much told me, oh, you have an illegal gun. I said, well, how come you haven't called the police then if there's an illegal gun? So not only did they believe they had an illegal gun, they didn't actually call the police to notify anyone that an illegal gun had arrived in their shop. Why? Because it was a bunch of shit. And they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. So after about 2 weeks of haggling with them, I finally got the gun shipped back to me. So the gun that I sold, I had to actually pay for it, have shipped back to me and transferred back to me. So That's a funny story with this gun. I sort of took it as an omen where maybe I probably should keep this gun because it seems to have bounced back to me. Now going on to other things. As a left-handed shooter using this gun, largely pretty good. The charging handle is on this side, so you just go like that. You know, it's easy to access. Actually, it's easier as a left-hand shooter than a right-hand shooter. It actually ejects up, so there's really no problem with it hitting your face. I can't say the same thing with the AR-15. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The one thing I don't like about it ergonomically is the safety. It's not particularly nice. It's hard to see from here, but especially with this crappy lighting. But pretty much there's a little knob over here, a little lever you push up on. You activate it that way. If you're a right-hand shooter, not too bad. Not the greatest system in the world, but if you're a left-hand shooter, your hand's not anywhere near that area. Not anywhere near it. So you have to go like that or whatever fancy schmancy thing you have to come up with. The one thing I also don't like about this gun, too, is that since mine was pretty tight when I got it, just disassembling it, there's a little disassembly notch on the back. Again, I apologize profusely for the lighting, but not professional. I just decided to do this just for the hell of it. So, yeah, not that easy to disassemble. Easier than some, harder than others. Compared to an AK, it is harder, but it's not too bad. So overall, yeah, SKS. Really wonderful gun. I like the fact it doesn't need any magazines. So if you go into the field or you go anywhere with it, you don't have to worry about magazines. Just throw the gun into your car and you're good to go. That's a huge advantage in my mind. You don't even need the stripper clips with it. I've actually barely used stripper clips with this thing, and you know, if shit ever hit the fan, I might choose this gun because it is in fact a New York legal gun. Now in terms of legality, for the most part, banned states allow these guns. For the most part. Some SKS variants are not legal. I think the Norinco SKSs are not legal in California. I know that SKSs are almost totally banned in Massachusetts. Which, again, none of this shit makes any sense. You can have AR-15s, but not SKSs. It's like, what? I really don't know how to explain it very well. But that's the mentality of the banned state people. They're like, fuck it. And then they just do whatever they want. But anyway, yeah, SKS. One of my favorite guns of all time. And one that I will probably keep. Even when I live in a non-banned state. So, again, really just a fun gun.